Hello, everybody. This is some old man. I wanted to talk about broken systems and whether or not it's too late. What do I mean? Well, if anybody watches the news, they'll be pretty aware that things are not doing too well. The systems are broken. The financial system has been breaking for years now. And here for the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like the cure to all the country's financial woes is to print more money and pump it into the economy. The only thing is that the average person, you, me, Joe down the street, we don't see very much of that money. They promised us a stimulus check. What was it, $600? I did get the very first one, but I've never seen anything since. Didn't really need it that badly. And all that it really accomplished, I think, is increasing the national debt faster than it was already doing it. During the last couple, 3 years, the national debt has gone up from, what was it, $12 billion, and now we're up 22 or 24, doubled. That's not good. All that extra money is pushing prices of everything up because people have money. We're going to spend it. There's less things to spend it on, or there's certainly no more, so it causes inflation. Prices go up. Supply and demand. Very simple stuff. Speaking of supply, has anybody heard anything about those ships stuck off the coast of California? Yeah, they're backed up, but it's a little bit more complicated than you might think. I heard a report today that part of the reason that the ships are not being unloaded as fast as they could otherwise is because there are no areas left around the port to store all these shipping containers that are coming off the ships. The lots are full. Why? Well, because the trucks aren't coming in as fast. Well, yes, you could blame part of that on COVID, I guess, but a bigger thing is that the state of California is restricting what trucks can come in and unload and pick up those containers. Huh? Well, by edict of California's governor, any truck older than, what was it, 11 years old, we can't bring those in. Can't come into California. Got to have a newer truck. Okay. Oh, and after, what was it, 2030, your truck has to be electric. Now, keep in mind, they don't make electric trucks just yet. They're just starting to come out with ones that sort of work, but they're not really long-range trucks. And if you're traveling cross-country, you need long range. Around the city, sure, but even those aren't really available yet. So, you can't use an older truck, and who the heck is going to buy a newer truck if it's going to be obsolete in 9 years, 8 years? They're shooting themselves in the foot, and California is going to regret it in years to come. Not that their economy isn't doing poorly anyway, but that's beside the point. All of this results in delays in the supply chain. A lot of that stuff, when it finally gets here, it's either going to be unneeded, unwanted, destroyed, who knows, but it's not going to be what we need at the time. Other things besides all the goodies we're getting imported from around the world are things like oil and natural gas. You'd think that there would be plenty, but the supply has really been cut back here in the last year and a half. Instead of producing it, we've cut off production here in the United States of most of that stuff. So there are shortages, or there are going to be shortages. Do you remember what happened in Texas last winter? Imagine that all across the United States. Power outages right in the dead of winter and no way to heat your home. It could happen. As I said, there's going to be shortages, and the prices of natural gas and heating oil are going to go through the roof. And speaking of weather, oh, we're having global warming. No, we aren't. Yes, it's warmed up a little bit, whether that's anthropogenic, whether it's man-made global warming or not. There has been some warming, but it's not as much as they like to go ahead and make you think. And what there is of it looks to be like it's going to trigger a shutdown of the North Atlantic current, where tropical waters are brought up along the east coast, keeping things nice and warm up in the north. If that shuts down, it's going to get cold in the north. The northeastern states, going to get cold. Central parts of the United States, central plains, going to get very cold. Texas experienced this last year as just a foretaste. Europe, going to get really cold. Not going to be a fun time. And between not having a way to heat your house and not having foods to buy groceries, a lot of people are going to be in a world of hurt. Now, if you're a prepper of one degree or another, you may have spent a lot of money. If you're a millionaire, you can afford this stuff at the last minute. You may have an underground bunker out in the middle of nowhere, stocked to the rafters with all sorts of goodies. Now, there are probably some folks other than the rich who actually have that kind of stuff because that's the lifestyle they decided to live. But if you're a normal person, you probably don't. If you are a smart, normal person, you will have stocked up some things. I consider myself reasonably intelligent, and I have stocked up. Initially, 10 years ago, when things were going fine, it was just because you normally prepare for things that could happen. Oh, we have a hurricane through here once every 5 or 10 years. Better have some backup stuff. Better have candles, so if we have a power outage, you got lights. Got to have something. As things have gotten more and more questionable moving forward, I've added to those preps. I've increased my supply of backup canned goods and dried goods. I've come up with additional things like, oh, I installed solar panels, and unless we have a Yellowstone supervolcano pumping ash all over the place to cover those things up, I should have electricity. Hopefully an EMP doesn't take them out. If there is a few days where we don't have any sun, I do have a small backup generator. It's not going to keep my house lit up, but I should have enough power to keep the freezer from thawing out. Save all that frozen stuff that I've got in there. Do I have enough food to last forever? If all the supply chain breaks down and I can't buy anything at the grocery store, I'm going to miss getting fresh fruit and vegetables. I may miss a few special items that don't store well, but I'm not going to starve. I have enough food for myself, my wife, my 2 kids if they come home. I have enough food to feed my pets for at least a few months. It's not going to be a fun time, but I'll live. If you don't have anything in your cupboard, if you normally go to the grocery store once a week or daily because you don't have anything and don't keep anything in the cupboard, if you eat out all the time, what are you going to be doing if everything shuts down? Food is easy. You can store it. What about things like heating oil, natural gas? You can't really store that kind of stuff. Yes, you can go ahead and get an LP tank and use it to run things like a barbecue grill or one of those little Mr. Buddy heaters. Those will help if you don't have your regular heat source for a short while, because you can't supply that stuff. It's hard to have 1,000 gallons of anything in your backyard. It just doesn't fit in most places unless you're out in the country. In which case you're in a different situation. Maybe you'll be okay. Me, I don't have that much room. I do keep some extra gasoline. I do keep my LP gas a little bit. But more importantly, I went out and bought a little wood stove. Oh, it's not a real wood stove like you'd think of old Franklin stove. This thing is a little bitty camp stove that you'd set out outside and you'd feed little twigs. Look up the words rocket stove on Google. You'll get some ideas. Reasonably priced, and if you live somewhere where you've got a few trees and you can pick up twigs and branches, you'll be able to cook food. It's better than nothing, which is what it is. It's a backup. It's actually a backup to the backup. Because my main cooking tool, of course, is the oven and stove in the house. If that fails, I have a camp stove, LP gas. A second backup, I have a charcoal grill. Limited amount of charcoal, so it's not going to last that long. The wood stove is number 3. Electric, same thing. I have my solar panels. I have the little electric generator. Beyond that, we're going to be back to the Stone Age. I'm afraid that we're coming to a collapse. And those who aren't prepared will regret it, because dependency on an all-powerful government's not going to work out very well when the all-powerful government has other things to concern itself with. And it will. That's all I've got to think about today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not. And hit the bell notification so you get notified every time I put a new video up. That's all I've got for now. This is Some Old Man, signing off.